Hello, and welcome to the Mild and Lazy Guys podcast, the most inconsistent podcast on the internet. I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
I'm Andrew.
And on today's episode, we're just going to try to get back in the swing of things. We've got a really big junk mail segment and questionable behavior from the internet segment. We are going to give you a double dose of our Mount Rushmore segment. We are going to talk a little sports if we can. And then we're going to wrap it up with what are we watching and what are we listening to. But as always, before we get started, let me ask you to follow us on Instagram at Mild and Lazy. You can get show updates there. You can also follow us on Spotify now and get notifications when we drop an episode every 2 months. But we'll get into that. So, what's up, man? What's been going on?
Well, kind of a lot, I guess, just because it's been so long. Like I said, I think we're consistently inconsistent with this, but
that's one thing we're good at.
Yeah, we're pretty good at not being good at making time. But let's see. Since then, we've had a couple freezes, which sucks for me for work.
Mm-hmm.
First one was like a legit freeze, and like we were shut down for like 3 days. So then like the following week was really bad. The second freeze, which was like a week ago, wasn't bad at all, but we couldn't get anything from Dallas. So it just dumped on us again the next week. Claire is forcing me to, I think she's like sabotaging my hair on purpose to try to get me to get a haircut. Because she was like, let me trim your beard up, which led to like trimming like what she calls my neck burns back here.
Yeah.
And then I just hear her go, uh-oh, that's not good. And I turn around and she just can't stop laughing. Like apparently she went from trimming up like just a little hair in her neck to like buzzing like a side mullet up my side of my head. So I can't like pull my hair back when I have to work. I just have to like let it flow freely now to cover up like this side mullet I had. But she couldn't stop laughing like legitimately for like 2 straight minutes. And then she was trying to get her head straight to like no, it's okay, just let me finish. But I'd be like, okay, fine. I'd turn around and then she would just look at me and just start laughing all over again. So that was fun, to get humiliated.
Is it not time just to embrace the mullet fully and just go for it?
I don't want a mullet. I'd rather, I told Claire, I'd rather shave my beard and get a mustache and just get like a normal haircut with a mustache than like a mullet.
I think you should go goatee.
I don't know. My dad's been rocking a goatee since like '96.
It's just the natural evolution. It's just the natural evolution of things. Yeah. I think that's the answer here.
And Owen has like the same haircut as my dad because my dad's had the same haircut and beard since I was like in elementary school.
Yeah,
which it's a good look for you. But I mean, shit, a lot's been going on just around the world. Just seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to touch on that today.
Yeah, we stopped recording and all of a sudden Russia invades Ukraine. I don't know if that's on us.
I think that's the universe telling us we need to get our shit together.
Yeah. So hopefully when this releases, like, there'll be like a ceasefire and they'll come to a peace agreement once this episode drops.
Yeah.
Putin, Zelensky, let's get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, just working a lot, and then I just come home. I'm fucking tired.
Mm-hmm.
You just eat something.
Naturally.
We've been watching like a lot of TV, just being boring and just raising them kids,
being adults.
Yeah, for real. That's what adult is. It's like going to work, coming home, like defalling meat, just cooking it, and be like, oh, you want to watch this show again? Yeah, okay. And then it's like 10 o'clock. Hey, you ready to get to bed? Okay, let's get in bed, and then just repeat.
Rinse, repeat.
But you're lucky if you marry someone you actually like to spend time with. Because I'm not complaining when I say these things. Because I genuinely like Claire's like my best friend. So just hanging out with her is always just a good thing for me.
Yeah.
But just hanging out at the house, like we're both homebodies, so I never have anything interesting to tell you. I just go to work and watch Scooby Doo with Elizabeth.
And we'll touch on. I'm glad you said watching stuff with your kids because in the internet segment we'll talk about that. So I haven't been shy about my struggles with my mental health on this podcast. And part of the delay, part of the kind of hiatus was I started grad school. We lost somebody at work, so the workload kind of doubled.
Oh, I thought you meant...
No, sorry. Somebody left.
Oh, I was like, dang.
No.
Got real.
Somebody left, and so workload kind of increased.
Slack,
yeah. And then, started grad school, so I wasn't doing well. I texted you and Alex just to let y'all know, like, hey, I'm not in a good spot.
Yeah.
But I think it's just an adjustment thing, like getting used to doing the grad school thing and then work.
You got a lot going on.
Kind of figuring itself out. But I started therapy again, so that's helping. And I know you're a big 105.3 guy. Yeah, have you heard the commercials for like the Low T Center?
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah, so I started getting testosterone treatments. So turns out testosterone has a lot to do with like your anxiety and depression levels.
Really?
Yeah, so I went in and they do like blood work or whatever to like kind of see where you're at. And so like an acceptable range is like 350 to like 1,000. I don't know how they like I don't know what the measurement is, but that's the range. Mine was like a 199.
Ugh.
So I joked with the doctor. I was like, so I'm basically a woman. And he didn't find it funny, but I found it funny. So I did blood work and they're like, yeah, man, you're no wonder you feel like shit and you're tired and you're depressed and angry all the time. Your testosterone is like not there at all.
Yeah.
So they do other tests too. They do like a full panel to make sure like, you know, they do your thyroid, your, in the blood work, they check your thyroid, your, almost said your butthole, your prostate, diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, all that. So all that was good. I mean, my cholesterol was a little bit on the high side, which obviously. But yeah, so started T treatments and I'm already kind of feeling better. I've gotten 2 treatments now, or 2 injections. So, I'd recommend it to anybody. Like it's already making me like my brain fog is clearing up. My mood is better. Things downstairs. Dude, yeah. I could poke a hole in that wall if I needed to. Like it's.
Well, I appreciate if you go to your house before you start poking walls.
I will, but that's improving.
That's a rousing endorsement just right there.
Yeah. So it's.
Where was it at? Is this like somewhere in Dallas?
It's in Mansfield, so it's just a quick trip up 287.
No. You get to stop by Jimmy John or Jersey Mike's on the way.
Oh, dude, there's a Jersey Mike's right down the street.
Perfect.
So like the first time I hadn't had blood drawn in years, so I had my blood drawn and. I felt fine, and then I stood up, and I was like, holy shit. I felt like I was floating, like, because I guess my sugar was low or something, and the nurse saw me. She's like, you okay? I was like, not really. She's like, here, drink this Gatorade and eat this. And then I felt better, and so I went to Jersey Mike's and destroyed a sandwich. Like, then I felt better, but there's Jersey Mike's literally like half a mile down the road. So every time I go, it's a Jersey Mike's stop.
I'll go just to get Jersey Mike's.
But yeah, I would recommend it to anybody. I mean, it affects other aspects of your health. So, so that's kind of been what's going on with me. Just kind of working on my mental health, you know, and then I feel bad because I know this is slacking and I feel bad because I'm not like pulling my weight and that kind of just adds to it. But
everything else would come first. This is just something we like to do on the side.
Yeah. But no, it's getting better. So like I said, I started therapy again and then, you know, the testosterone's helping. Let's see. That's it. We sold Lauren's car.
Was it like an
Edge, Ford Edge, yeah. And then I gave her the Accord, the gray one.
Yeah, I saw her the other day, and I just figured I was wondering why she was in your car.
I gave it to her, and then I actually flew to Kansas and bought a car.
Shit!
It is the first car that I owned in high school. It's just a year newer. It's not the exact car.
Oh, I was like, damn, you really tracked it down to Kansas?
No.
Wow.
It's a Acura Integra, 96 Acura Integra.
I saw that out there. Yeah. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, for a 26-7-year-old car, yeah. So, yeah, I flew
and then you drove it back from Kansas?
Yeah, drove it back.
That's a hell of a test drive.
Made it, yeah. It was a lot of faith. I bought it.
Yeah, I was like, you really go crossing state lines hoping this thing makes it home.
But me and the guy were going back and forth, and he sent me videos of, like, him driving it, of it running, like, kind of everything, a little brief history of, like, service records and stuff. So I felt good about it. So I flew out on Monday, past Monday, a week ago almost. Flew out of Love Field, and this was a big test for my anxiety because I've never flown by myself, much less dealing with anxiety, but I flew to Denver, had like a 2-hour layover in Denver. Really cool. I sat in this restaurant with a like view of the Rocky Mountains and like ate steak and eggs.
Did you check out the Denver airport? Was it the international one with all those conspiracy theories? That'd be cool.
I didn't want to go stray too far from my gate, but they do have some like crazy art.
Yeah, there's
and
some weird
stuff.
shit out there.
There's some weird shit.
Yeah.
And then while I was waiting for like outside my gate for my flight, I was like reading. I was listening to a conspiracy podcast about the Denver airport while reading all the conspiracy theories, and I was like, man, I'm sitting above like a fucking military bunker right now.
I don't know what's going on there, but it is some weird shit at that airport.
Yeah. So and then flew from Denver into Wichita and got an Uber and met the guy and bought the car and came back. But I don't know, man. I love it. Lauren's like, you're happy with this? I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with this. Like,
awesome.
So many memories in that car.
Yeah.
And I got it. I got one just like it, except this one's actually nicer, than the one I had back in the day. Yeah, so she's happy. She gets to drive. She gets upgraded car. I get, because
that's a nice car.
I don't drive. I drive 2 miles to work.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I don't need. We need a nice car for when we want to go to Dallas or go to Mansfield. Just a nicer car to travel in. But I don't need a nice car. So there's some work that needs to be done with it. I mean, it's all original, so all the suspension's like shot. I mean, it sounds like a bucket of bolts rattling around when you're going over bumps, but, I enjoy doing that stuff.
That's something you can do in time, though.
Yeah.
Like, you could have that thing for 10 years and just make it yours.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that stuff, so that's really all that's going on with me.
Well, that reminded me, I went to my first airport 2 weeks ago.
Not to fly, though, I'm
Hell
assuming.
no. But I was paid $100 to take my brother-in-law and sister-in-law at 6 in the morning up to DFW International.
Deal.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Deal.
Then I just stopped on the way home, but yeah, I got $100 and this cool roach clip made out of an antler. So it's
Nice.
really weird payment,
Yeah.
but that's the two things I got.
Hey.
I just had to get up super early and take them, but
Yeah.
it wasn't too bad. I don't want to go inside, but getting in and out of DFW wasn't too bad.
No, you just got to go through that one little toll booth and on the way in.
Yeah,
and
I
out.
didn't know what to do. I was just, every time I pulled up somewhere, I was like, I don't know what to do right now. You have to tell me. I've
I'm
never
lost.
been here. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I give you money or do you give me a ticket? How does this work?
Yeah.
But we figured it out.
Yeah.
I only made it a little awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, the flight wasn't bad on the way from Denver to Wichita. I was sitting next to...
Isn't that opposite ways, though, to go to
Yeah,
Denver
we had
and
to
then
go to
Wichita?
We had to go west to come back east.
Yeah, that's when
I
you
don't
said you were at
understand.
Denver. I was like, why did you have to go to Denver to get
It
to
was
Wichita?
the layover. I don't know. But on the way to Wichita, I was sitting next... I was in the aisle, and there was a little girl next to me and her mom, and she was playing... Or she was playing some princess game on her tablet, and she kept looking at me, and then she'd look down and keep playing, and then she'd look at me, and then kind of keep playing. And then I saw her kind of lean over to her mom and whisper something, and then her mom leaned over and was like, "My daughter wants to know if you want to play her Princess Pony game on her iPad." I was like, "Sure." I was like, "I have a 7-year-old boy, so I spent an hour playing Princess Pony with this little girl on her tablet on the flight. So
That's cool.
that helped time go by. But no, the airport. I always love airports because there's just so much going on. People going everywhere. Hey, where's this person? I wonder where this person's going or that person's going.
It'd probably be fun just sitting people watch.
Oh, it is, yeah. So yeah,
Especially at a Vegas airport or Denver, somewhere like that, or
Vegas.
international.
People have ruined their lives and they're going back home.
Yeah, I like to see the departures,
Yeah.
people coming in to go home and
Yeah.
see the defeated look on their face.
Oh yeah. But no, it was a fun little trip. So good little test of the anxiety there. Yeah, so that's it. Just school and work and.
You hit up that new McDonald's yet by your work?
Oh yeah.
I figured
Oh,
you and
yeah.
Eric and all them probably tearing it up.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were gonna go this morning because they have an indoor play area.
Yeah, yeah.
And I told Elizabeth all week we'll go there for breakfast and you can play. But then last night we were having our sleepover on the couch on the air. She calls it a bounce house. It's just an air mattress in the living room, and we were watching what was it called? The Fairy Princess and the Unicorn, which is exactly how it sounds. That's all it was
Yeah.
was fairies and unicorns. And then she fell asleep, and then she ate a little ice cream before. Not a lot. I stick to that story. She didn't have a lot, and she just fucking hurled everywhere, repeatedly. I don't feel good. And then she says that she's throwing up. And then as she's putting her hands over her face, she's throwing up. And then as I'm pulling her hair back, she's throwing up.
Good God.
It just kept. And then I was like, okay, fuck it. I picked her up and carried her to the bathroom. And then she got over the toilet. And she threw up again. Then I gave her the trash bag. She threw up again. So I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so we didn't get to go to McDonald's. That was the reasoning. That was my whole ridiculous tangent on that. Was we've been wanting to go, but Ellie just threw up everywhere, and it was fucking disgusting.
Dude, I know it's new, and we'll see how this progresses. But every time I go there, the food is hot. Like,
That's good, right?
it's very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Because most McDonald's, like, yeah, it's warm, it's hot, it's acceptable. But this one, it's like fresh, hot. Their ice cream machine works.
That's a rarity.
I had a soft serve cone for the first time in years.
Oh my God,
This
it's
last
so
week, it was
good.
so good, so
Dude.
simple, so good.
I love soft serve.
Yep.
I don't like vanilla ice cream, but I'll go to Sonic and get a soft serve anytime.
Which, by the way, they're coming along with our Sonic right here by us because it's under construction for remodel.
Yeah.
I've been really missing my Dr. Peppers from
Yeah,
there.
that's pretty much like our go-to. Is just to go get a drink for sure.
But yeah, no, we'll see how it continues. You know, maybe see if that level drops off. But
You talking about McDonald's still?
yeah, McDonald's. Yeah,
You sound like real serious. We'll see if that levels continues.
dude, I'm serious. Like, it's always
So
good
right now
service.
they're like on point.
Yes,
And you'll keep us updated.
I'll keep you updated.
And Eric will as well.
'Cause-
Hey, that means less Asian buffet. Which, dude, I think the person I delivered to my route owns that place.
Oh, really?
It's a very foreign sounding name, and on there it says like Asian King Buffet.
Yep.
So those two things check out. When you saw the name and then you see that, you're like, yep, that makes sense.
You see an Asian name and
It's
Asian
extremely
King Buffet,
Asian name,
DBA, yeah.
and then the other mail's addressed to Asian King Buffet. I'm like, okay, I bet he owns it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that leap.
yeah, I think it's safe to
So
do
maybe
that.
we can introduce Eric and see if they got like a reward system for Eric or something.
Dude, I've avoided
punch
that like a plague, dude. I did go to the new rice box right there by Little Caesars. You know, they've changed
That
their
place
menu.
is never. There's no one ever in there like that. It holds like 100 people. I don't know why they moved why they got that location.
I don't know, but they changed their menu and they started offering like more traditional Chinese dishes. It's not just fried rice anymore.
I love fried rice.
Yeah, so do I. They still have it, but they also added like traditional Chinese, like General Tso's chicken, orange chicken, beef broccoli.
Oh,
you know,
I'm
stuff
down with
like
all
that.
that.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah, I like it when it was the one by Water Street by that muffler shop. That's the one we always carried out of.
Yeah.
I haven't been to this new one because it's just a massive location, and I don't want to be the only person sitting in this big, empty restaurant. It just makes me feel weird.
I actually like that. I don't like being in a crowded restaurant.
I'll just take it home. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be anywhere crowded.
No, I know. Don't go to that card show then. You want to talk about fucking crowded? Holy shit.
Elbows and assholes
Dude,
everywhere.
Yes. You're smelling everybody. You're smelling
Well,
everybody
unless
and
like Troy Aikman's there, then it ain't worth it.
I ran into Mike McDonald last time I went.
Yeah, I bet he smelled so good.
Yeah, he smelled amazing. Dude. He's a big fucking dude.
Yeah, he's a big hunky
Bigger than I
dude too.
thought. Bigger than I thought.
That's what she said.
All right, let me see if I can remember how to do this. Let's get into the junk mail segment. I think it's this one.
That's what she said.
No, I think it's the one under it. That's my guess.
All right, so I pulled this off of Reddit, and I wish I could just read the comments because the comments were amazing. Headline, and this is from iflscience.com. Company offers employees pods to masturbate in, complete with VR headsets. A company has taken the unusual step of offering their employees pods to masturbate in while at work as an employee benefit, which is usually things like a dental plan or free coffee. The Cyprus-based adult website Strip Chat installed 4 pods for its 200 employees. That ratio is off, sir. And will allow them to take 30-minute paid breaks during work to make use of the pods, a.k.a. to jack it. The decision to install the pods was made to help employees cope with the stress of the COVID-19 pandemic. With 200 employees sharing the 4 pods, they may not have assessed the stress and awkwardness involved in queuing at work for an orgasm. The pods, which look like large futuristic balls, are equipped with 4K screens, Oculus Quest VR headsets, tissues, and comfortable chair to masturbate in. It will also not be bring your own lube, as it will be provided by the employer.
Is this like something they all agree on? Like, what if there's a debate on what lube to use?
Are we
How do
going
they settle
oil-based
this?
or water-based,
Yeah,
bro?
right. Are we going lotion or Vaseline? Like, I'm sure there's some interesting debates.
Surprisingly, the company is not the first to offer the masturbation breaks. Last year, Erica Lust Films, who employs 36 members of staff, began letting staff have 30-minute masturbation breaks, again due to the
Who takes
agitation.
30 minutes to jack off?
Dude, I need like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm
what are you
done.
taking a nap afterwards?
Dude, 30 minutes I could.
That's
jack
what I'm
it, take
saying.
a nap.
I could knock out both things.
the company went more low tech, offering a masturbation station rather than a high tech.
Is that just like a table like this?
Yeah.
You just stand there.
Rather than a high tech ball in which you can crank one out. Quote, with the pandemic and the huge shift in how we live our lives, I began to notice that my employees had become somewhat agitated and were performing with less energy than before, owner Erica Lust said at the time.
That's his real last name.
I think it's a her. It's Erica.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Erica
Erica.
Lust.
Could be her stage name. I don't know. So knowing that there's only one thing that will make everyone feel good, I've set up a private masturbation station for them to enjoy. Oh, man.
Yeah, that ratio is disgustingly, like, 4 pods for 200 people.
I'm sharing a pod with 49 other dudes.
Yeah. No.
Or chicks.
I'd rather be like, all right, I got my 30 minutes. I guess I'll go to my car with my tinted windows and crank one out. I'm not going to a pod where fucking Steve just walked out of.
Dude, the Reddit comments are so good. It's like, I just wanted health benefits, but I guess this works too.
Yeah, right. I just wanted a raise, but I guess I'll just jack off today.
Oh, man. All right, so our next story is it's from mystateline.com, and it says woman quits job to breastfeed boyfriend full time. And this made you say, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, just that headline. Like, I don't know. Maybe her job wasn't too important, but to quit a job just to do that.
A woman in Atlanta says she had quit her job in order to pump enough breast milk to feed her bodybuilding boyfriend every 2 hours. According to the Sun, Jennifer Mulford left her job as a bartender so she could produce enough milk for her boyfriend, Brad Leeson, full-time. Mulford said she was single when she found a website about adult breastfeeding relationships, and there's an acronym, ABR.
That's
so it's
a thing? Gross.
I've always enjoyed my breast being touched during sex more than anything else, so I knew I would enjoy it.
Mark that down. Mark that for Matt.
I use dating sites, put messages on ABR forums, and even put an advert on Craigslist, but I drew a blank. I started to think I'd never get to try adult breastfeeding. Good God. With everything going on in the
I can't
world.
believe that one day Landry can listen to all this out of context.
Eventually, she started talking with Lisa and a former school boyfriend. Quote, I thought it was a perfect time to bring up adult breastfeeding and see if he'd be interested, Mulford said. Mulford, 36, gave birth to her daughter 20 years ago. Oh, she was a slut.
What?
She was 16.
She's still having breast milk?
And said she had to, quote-unquote, dry breastfeed Lisa about every 2 hours and use a breast pump to fool her body into lactating. I've taken a break from my job because I want to devote everything to making this work, she said. Mulford said she believes adult breastfeeding will create a quote-unquote magical bond between them. And Leeson, meanwhile, hopes nursing will give his body health benefits. However, critics on social media have criticized the pair for sexualizing breastfeeding. Quote, it's idiots like these two that are making it difficult for breastfeeding mothers to do so publicly without shame or ridicule. They're only increasing the sexualization of breastfeeding. There are no medical benefits for adults to consume breast milk. Breast milk is for babies, one woman wrote on Facebook.
Yeah, if there's no like benefits to it, then it's just like a fetish.
Yeah, it's not. There's no benefits.
Yeah,
it's
like
just
he's not getting extra nutrients or like any kind of like thing that's going to help his immune system or something.
You're just fucking freaks.
Yeah, you just want to.
He's a freak with mommy issues, and she's.
I mean, probably for her, I think it's just like I can make extra money. I don't know because it's her boyfriend.
All right, so last one.
Story. I like how I feel better after all these.
Yeah, it totally makes you feel better about yourself. This would totally be me. Headline reads, hiker lost on mountain for 24 hours ignores calls from rescuers because he didn't recognize their phone number. A hiker who was lost on a mountain for 24 hours ignored calls from rescue crews because he didn't recognize the phone numbers, officials said. The hiker was reported missing last week after they never returned from a trek on Mount Elbert in Colorado, the highest summit of the Rocky Mountains. After an unsuccessful search of the area where the hikers typically get lost, crews learned that the lost individual had returned to their place of lodging. One notable takeaway is that the subject ignored repeated phone calls from us because they didn't recognize the numbers, officials said in a news release. Quote, if you're overdue according to your itinerary and you start getting repeated calls from an unknown number, please answer the phone. The hiker claimed they got lost when it got dark and that they reached their car the next morning. Don't call me.
Same.
And I feel bad calling you because sometimes I'm like, I've got a lot to say. I think it's just easier to call them.
And then I look at my phone and go, oh, fuck.
Even
Matt's calling me. I was
even
like,
for me.
I think he actually wants to call me too. I don't think it's a butt dial.
Yeah, it's never a butt dial.
I think the only person I always pick up for is like My mom, dad, and Claire. Other than that, that's going to voicemail. And then I'll text you. I'll be like, "Hey, what's up? Like, what do you need?"
Yeah, I never answer calls of numbers I don't know.
Oh, if I don't know the number, I can just immediately swipe. Yeah. I mean, if it leaves me a voicemail, I go, "Oh fuck, what do they want? Like,
Yeah.
who is this person?"
Yeah.
I have like a little anxiety attack. Like, what do they want?
I pray that they leave a voicemail so I know, so the wondering doesn't eat at me.
Well,
Why
I
the
always
fuck
just
was this
assume
number?
it's if it's something from like Washington State, or like Pennsylvania. I don't fucking know anybody there. Like, if it's a Dallas number, I go, "Oh shit, man, that's probably important."
Yep.
I should probably not answer that.
All right. So you talked about watching Pretty Princess Fairies with whatever it was called with Ellie earlier.
The fairy princess and the unicorn. Yes.
Okay. So perusing through Reddit, it says parents of Reddit, what's the worst kids show you have to suffer through? So there's a lot on here.
For me, it'd be that Blippy. Blippy, is that his name?
Okay, Blippy was on here.
Yeah, that guy's pretty fucking annoying. But
Funny-
good for him. He's probably made a shit ton of money.
Funny story. He actually got into some trouble before he got big for shitting on his roommate or pissing on him. Yeah.
Blippy, you freak.
Yeah, because he tried to do like the internet, like the viral sensation stuff.
Like
and
trying to do wild stuff.
I think he got in trouble for like shitting on his roommate or friend or
As he
something.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shit on somebody, you should get in trouble for that.
Let's see. Yeah, a lot were on Ryan's World.
Yeah, I can't stand that kid.
Ryan's Toy Review, and one of the Rista Ricky says, "Welcome to Ryan Gets Exploited by His Parents Some More Show." There was a lot for that. There was a lot of Kalu. It's a little bald kid who's an asshole, apparently.
Is he like a real kid?
No, it's a
I was like, maybe he has maybe he's going through cancer treatment or something.
no, it's
It's like animated?
it's animated, yeah. And
Okay,
a lot of people
I
on
don't
Reddit
know.
were like, he's bald because his own body knows how big of an asshole he is and refuses to grow hair. Again, Reddit fucking wins. all the
Reddit
time.
comments are the best.
All the time.
Anytime I get a few more updates on Reddit comments, I feel good about myself.
Yeah, I got some upvotes on mine because I commented because I spent a good, no exaggeration, 10 minutes scrolling looking for the one that I'm most annoyed by. Now Landry's 7, so he's kind of grown out of Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol and all that stuff that we used to watch. Now it's this family called FGTV, and it stands for Family Gaming TV. And there's a dad and 3 sons and a daughter, and the dad has to be. If I could use a one-time ass whoop card or coupon,
Yeah? You whooping that ass?
yeah. I mean, the way he acts, dresses like he's still like 16.
Is he one of those guys that thinks he's the main character?
Yeah.
Wow, I hate people like that.
Yeah. And he dresses like he wears like Roblox hats and I can't stand him. And the way he lets his kids act rubs off on the kids who watch it. And it's constant screaming for the entirety of the video.
That sounds terrible.
He lets his kids scream. He screams. So Landry watches it and he screams. So I end up having to smack the shit out of my kid. Like, we don't act like that in this house. But yeah, so the whole thing is like they play video games and he streams it or whatever, and then him and his kids play together.
And
which
makes
is
more
fine.
money than we do
Absolutely.
all year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hate people like that.
And it just, yeah. And like, there's another one called Vlad and Nikki. They're like these 2 Russian kids who moved to Dubai, and their dad runs their channel, and they have like 14 versions of their channel in different languages, across the world. And they live in this huge house in Dubai, and there's no context or substance to it. It's just them. It's just like funny noises and poorly dubbed like voices over them acting. I don't know. It's terrible.
All of these sound like parents just exploiting their kids.
It's terrible. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there because it was oh, here's one about Caillou or whatever. Somebody said they did a study about how the show encouraged bad behavior in children, and it proved that this cartoon was literally a bad influence on kids.
Speaking of great influence on kids, I saw Arthur finally had its last episode.
That's
like a
how
couple
you
weeks
fucking
ago.
end a series.
I didn't know Arthur was still going. I think it was
Yeah.
like 27 years running, man.
Yeah,
I used to always watch Arthur.
yeah. So yeah,
That's what our kids should be watching.
Absolutely.
I guess Ellie never, at least right now, isn't going through anything like really shitty. She still likes, Scooby Doo, and she watched the newer Transylvania movie again today.
There's the new
Teenage
one
Mutant
just came
Turtle.
out.
Yeah, we watched it a couple weeks ago when it came out, and then she watched it again today. But I don't know, for the most part, she likes good stuff. When she watches something annoying, I'll just tell her how annoying it is. It's always like on YouTube though. It's like YouTube's where you can find the most annoying shows.
Yeah. Landry doesn't care. I tell him it's annoying. He's like, "You go to the other room." Like, I pay for this house. You go to the other room. Get off my TV. You fucking little jerk. All right. So I've got some "Am I the Assholes" for you.
Okay.
And this one's a little long, so I'm gonna try to get through pretty quick. All right. Am I the asshole for calling my ex-wife a crazy bitch for trying to break our daughter and her boyfriend up so that she can start dating her boyfriend's dad?
That already sounds pretty crazy and assholey.
My 45 male ex, he's 45 male, ex who's a 35 female, and I have a daughter, 16 female, Elena. Elena has been dating Eric, an 18-year-old male, for about eight months now, and things have been going well for them. That's kind of sketchy.
Mm-hmm. All this sounds... She's 35 with a 16-year-old, and then the 16-year-old's dating an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah, that already sounds sketchy.
So my ex is active in Elena's school community and recently met Eric's dad, which is the boyfriend, Elena's boyfriend, dad, 44 male, at a recent school function. From what I understand, they hit it off and were moving in the direction of seeing each other. That is until Eric's dad found out that my ex is the mother of his son's girlfriend. He thought that things would be weird and awkward if they started dating, so he made it clear to my ex that they were no longer that dating was no longer a possibility, and why. My ex did not take it well. According to what Elena told me later, her mom came home drunk one night and started mumbling about how she was a burden who always ruined her happiness. Great parenting.
Yeah.
The next day, the ex either didn't remember or pretended not to remember and thanked Elena for taking care of her when she was drunk. But it didn't take long before my ex started telling Elena how she didn't think Eric was right for her, and they've got a 2-year age gap and will be separated for at least that long when he's off to college, and that it would be better to break it off now. Elena was upset, and they got into a fight bad enough that she came to spend the night at my place. I told her that her mother was full of it, and as long as the guy's not hurting her, it's none of her mother's business who she dates.
I think
really.
Mom could have some input, but
Yeah.
not like... And the whole argument about the 2 years age gap where she's 35 and her ex is 45 and the
now
new guy's 44.
Yeah.
And her whole argument is, well, when you're away at college, like, it's easier now to communicate across country than ever. You know what I mean?
Pot kettle.
Yeah. That's the dumbest argument.
Things calmed down a bit before suddenly escalating. Instead of simply telling my daughter that it would be best to break up with Eric, she started actively trying to sabotage the relationship. Examples include telling Elena she saw Eric with another girl, talking up and trying to introduce Elena to one of her friend's kids, and even stealing Elena's phone so that she could use it to text Eric that they were done. After resolving the misunderstanding with Eric, Elena had an even bigger fight with her mother before finally getting the reason why she was doing this. She wanted to get together with Eric's dad, but he wouldn't be with her because the kids were dating. Elena lost it, called her mom a crazy bitch, and came over to live with me. When I got the full story, I was livid. I called my ex to ask her what the fuck she thought she was doing. She said oh God, let me turn that down. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Let's see. She said her love life wasn't any of my business. I told her I don't care about her love life. I care about our daughter. Then I asked why, if Eric's dad wouldn't be with her because of the kids' relationship, would she think he would be okay with her breaking the kids up? She called me jealous and she said she wouldn't know if I didn't tell him. I called her a crazy bitch just like Elena did and hung up. Now, not only am I getting texts from her calling me abusive, but also her sister and her friends, who I assume don't have the true story, calling me the same. I try to ignore them, but it did get me thinking about whether I went too far when I lost my temper. I'm not a 16-year-old like Elena who can't filter their thoughts from their mouth. Am I the asshole?
No, the husband's not the asshole. The wife is just crazy.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, and this Eric's dad. Why would he want to be with you after you showed how crazy you are in order to get this relationship?
That's what the dad brought up.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, he won't know if I don't tell him.
Oh, he'll know because it's an open, like everyone else knows about it.
So there is an edit. So he says, I don't really have enough time to go through this and respond to individual comments. There are a lot more than I expected. So I just thought I'd address something that I keep that I'm seeing popping up here. Unlike some of you are assuming, I did not make my ex crazy or emotionally stunted by grooming her or some nonsense, because we met at a bar that carded at the door. I assumed she was older than 21 because neither of us were looking for something too serious. We didn't get too personal. We just hooked up. I didn't find out how old she really was until after she was pregnant. We decided to try to seriously get together for the baby and got married. It didn't work out, and we divorced after about 4 years. So
they
I guess he
accused
was
the husband of grooming?
and being a predator.
No, she's just crazy.
Because
Like
Reddit.
Yeah, I was gonna say everything in that story just tells me she's a unstable, crazy person. And if it was like meant to be, like I don't think if Eric's dad was like, this is the one, like this is the person like that I want to marry, like he's not gonna let another relationship with his kid stop that. I mean, I know it'd be weird, but if you found like this woman that you thought was just gonna complete your life, you wouldn't make an excuse like that. I think he's just not into you, girl.
Yeah, a lot of people, everybody's on the dad's side.
Of course they are, because the wife's crazy.
Yeah, so let's get to the next one. Let me see.
I like that you've read and I can just sit back with the Werthers.
Yeah. Load. Come on. All right, this is a good one. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I was disappointed in the gift that he had got for my son's 16th birthday? Background: I've been married to my husband, Jack, for 3 years. I have a 16-year-old son from my previous marriage, and Jack has an 18-year-old son from his previous marriage as well. My stepson and my son aren't very close, and the only time they see each other is when they visit. But everyone is happy with these arrangements, and there are rarely any issues. My stepson's 18th birthday was a couple months ago. I wasn't at the party since his mom hosted, but Jack told me that he bought him a car because he's been needing it since he has a disability and will be going to college. I saw the picture. The car looked nice. Now, my son's 16th birthday took place this past week. My son and I were both excited for the gift Jack said he'd bring, and I hinted to my son that it would most likely be a car just like the one his stepbrother got recently. Turned out we were wrong because at the party, Jack's gift for my son was actually a gaming console. My son got so upset that he went to his room, shut the door mid-party. Everyone noticed something was wrong and left shortly. Jack looked confused this entire time and asked what the deal was. I asked if he really didn't know, and he just stared at me. I told him that my son was expecting something like a car as a gift. Jack asked why, and I told him because my stepson got one for his 18th birthday recently. I bluntly told him that my son was rightfully disappointed, and so was I in this gift, and really thought it was unfair, especially since my son told his friends he was getting his car from his stepdad. Jack argued about the difference in circumstances, saying his son needs the car to drive to college, while my son doesn't need it, and besides, he doesn't have a disability like his stepbrother and can walk or commute. Also, said I shouldn't have assumed it'd be a car, and I messed up by hinting this to my son. I couldn't help notice the difference in treatment. I let him know that no matter how he tries to explain his reasons, my son will always feel like he's less than his stepbrother in a way, and what happened now will make it worse, even between the stepbrother, not just him and my son. Jack called me unbelievable and that I should feel ashamed, and then rushed out. He's expecting me to get involved and ease things between him and my son, but I decided to give my son time to process this. Am I the asshole for what I said?
Yep.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, this one was really easy. Easy
imagine
call.
being so entitled you would just assume you're getting a car for your birthday. And then you get a console, which was probably a $500 gift.
For sure.
And you storm off to your room.
My first thought after reading this is what mental illness looks like. Like, there's something wrong with you. Like, the kid, his own son didn't get a car till he was 18.
And I agree that he needs it for college because you're going to have to be on your own now. You got to commute.
And he's got a fucking disability.
Yeah.
And it's your fault for making that assumption and hyping your kid up.
And what I noticed too is every time she kept saying "my son," it wasn't our son. Like when you're a family like
When you're
that, like a blended family.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. Our son didn't get one for his 16th birthday. It kept being my son and my son, and it's like, well, why don't you go buy your son a fucking car then?
So the comment with the most votes was, how are you this oblivious? You should never have gotten your son's hopes up. How presumptuous of you. The circumstances are completely different despite you refusing to see them so. 1, there's an age difference and his son is going to college and will need transport. 2, as a step parent, it is not your husband's obligation to buy your son a car. That falls on you and the father. Your son is rightfully disappointed, but not because of your husband, but because of you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, like
Done.
she said, she's the one that kept saying, "Oh, I bet you're getting a car. Oh, I bet you're excited for this car."
Yep.
Got his hopes up, and then
Yep.
he got probably a PS5 or something, which would be fucking cool.
That'd
I would
be
love
dope.
somebody to give me a PS5 for my birthday.
And there was a lot of comments like, shit, at 16, I would have rather had the new PlayStation than a car.
Are you kidding me? I got a PS3 for my birthday when I was 16.
Yeah.
My first car, my dad goes, "Hey, I got this, this junk box you can have," which turned out to be a sweet car, but he was like, "Oh, if the brakes ever fail, like, step on this e-brake. If that doesn't work, throw it in gear. There's no airbags." He's like, just, kind of going to the guardrail.
Here's this hunk of steel.
That's what it was. It was a big piece of steel truck. And he
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, here's everything that could go wrong. And this is what you do if it does go wrong."
Right.
And then he was like, "Oh, you know what? That truck, it uses a lot of gas, and gas went up. So I'm taking that truck away from you, and you're going to go to the bank, and you're going to take out a loan, and you can buy your own car." So that's how my first vehicles went down.
Hey,
I'm saying, like, some people are just entitled and, assume that everything should be given to them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's get into our Mount Rushmore. We've got a double dose of Mount Rushmore. We've got the first one will be our Mount Rushmore of albums that we will show our kids.
the introductory to music.
Hey, these are the albums that you need to listen to kind of give you, I don't know, like a good base or
Yeah, it was hard to describe, but it's like
Yeah.
your kid just needs an intro to music.
like here's what got dad into music.
Yeah, or this is like now that I'm 34 and I don't know, 36, 37, it'd be like, this is what I would consider like good albums to get you started on.
Okay.
It's not going to be the same things I would have picked even 5-10 years ago.
Yeah. No,
But I try to make it diverse. So I have, a couple reasonings for each one. I try to make it a little different kind of like genres of music too.
yeah, so did I. Switched it up. All right, so my first one that I would show Landry is Block Party, Silent Alarm.
Yeah, I know you like that album.
That's probably
Party
one of my
fan.
favorite albums
Yeah.
of all time. I don't know. It's just a really good album. I don't have any other reason. behind that.
That's all the reasoning you need, man. I have a feeling all these are going to be pretty good albums.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's going to be a common theme here.
what's your first one?
My first one is the Rolling Stones' "Sticky Fingers."
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite Rolling Stones album. It's just like the epitome of like rhythm and blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like when they were like their peak. They had like a string of like 4 albums in a row where I think they were just like the best band in the world. And this was like peak Rolling Stones. So, "Sticky Fingers." I wouldn't want to show them the album because it's like Mick Jagger with like a pretty bulging boner is like the album cover.
Yeah,
So you just got to look at this bulging dick.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, just get past that and then we'll just listen to it.
Just get into the
So
music.
it's like, yeah, it's kind of awkward that that's the first album I'm going to show my child.
Right.
But for music purposes.
Yeah. So, and these are kind of just albums that kind of shaped me, and I kind of I threw in some different genres, but one I would show Landry is the Marshall Mathers LP from Eminem. I mean, he's not the best rapper of all time, but he's probably one of the most influential because you even talk. I don't want to talk about him being white and whatever, but you talk to any artist and they're like, who do you have the most respect for? Who's somebody you really respect? Eminem.
Well, they call
Eminem.
him Rap
Eminem.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, when that's your nickname,
Yeah.
that kind of says it all.
Yeah. So Marshall Mathers LP from Eminem is one I would definitely show Landry.
Solid,
I will
solid.
show Landry. I don't know. It's pretty vulgar.
I'll say there's a lot of like rapping about like killing and stuff.
Yeah.
We all love bitches and hoes, but maybe not like the beheading part.
Right. Yeah.
Skip
Yeah.
a few songs.
Yeah. For sure. What's your second one?
Second one for me is the one I've mentioned before. It's Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest albums of all time. I love that album. Something about it, man. I swear, like, if there's like such thing as like reincarnation, I think I was like alive in like that late 70s, early 80s
Yeah.
in England. I think I was like Ian Curtis or something. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It really is like something I can like connect to with that album. It's just like a really special album to me. So Joy Division, yeah, it's just really good. And then sadly, the singer killed himself like right when they were going on tour and about to blow up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really sad.
My third one is They're Only Chasing Safety by Under Oath.
Good one.
This is probably the album that got me into like kind of like hardcore screamo metal ish music.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing. So there's just so many bangers on that album. And then they had a stretch of like three, the two following after that, Define the Great Line, and then oh crap, what's the other one? I forget the other one, but there was a string of like 3 albums where they just put out just amazing stuff.
Buying those albums always reminds me of like Hastings.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
going to Hastings to get all those.
I'm a little bit older, so ours would be mine would be Best Buy.
Oh, man.
You'd always
Hastings
get them
is
for
better.
Best Buy. Oh, for sure.
I miss Hastings.
Miss Hastings. I was talking with somebody about that the other day. I was like, it was just a special place. Like,
It really was, man. Just go out and like when me and Claire first started dating, we would just like go to Hastings for like an hour, you
Yeah.
know, and then like eventually like buy a few things and rent a movie.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and you know, on the book side, you still have half price. You know,
I love half price books. We went there. I got a calendar with goats and trees. It's the best calendar I ever
Goats and
got.
trees.
Yeah, it's all it is goats standing in trees, and I was like, done. This calendar is it. So I know I'm buying every year now for myself. Is that calendar?
Have you been to the warehouse?
No.
Okay,
No,
I
we
need
talked
to take
about
you.
it, man.
I need to take you to the warehouse.
You take me and we'll get Jersey Mike somewhere.
There's a Jersey Mike's right down the road. I know. I'm that fat that I've
I
mapped
was
out
gonna say,
Jersey
you're
Mike's
like
location.
you're like the Jersey Mike locator. It's like, Matt, I'm in Denton. All right, you're gonna want to go 3 blocks.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? Did you
My
give your
third one. My third one is Otis Redding. The album's called Otis Blue. To me, Otis Redding's the greatest singer of all time. He's my favorite singer. I love his voice, and that's just like it's also called like Otis Sings the Blues or Otis. I think that's it. Or Otis sings the Otis sings the soul. I don't know. He had another album called the Soul Album, but this one, it's just got so many bangers, so many classic songs.
See, I know I could rely on
He did
you.
a couple. He did a couple covers. He did like that. What's that Sam Cooke song about? There's a change a coming.
Yeah.
And he covered Respect, like the Aretha Franklin song. So he covered like a bunch of good songs, and he obviously had his own original songs on there. But yeah, to me, that's like the greatest soul album of all time.
See, I know I could rely on you on the older stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an old soul.
My last one is Juturna from Circus Survive.
Dude, I think you just did all your high school jams. These are like a carbon copy of high school jams. So
Well, I mean, that's
music was just so much better in 2005, right?
It
Oh,
really
wait, you were out of
was.
high school. Wait, 2004?
2002.
Oh, shit. Sorry, dude.
20 years ago.
All right, my bad.
Well, when you posed this Mount Rushmore to me, I thought of albums that kind of shaped me and my music. Like
No,
me
yeah,
as a
you
person.
interpreted it correctly.
Yeah.
And you would want your son to be shaped in the same.
And I kind of
So the
threw
same
in,
mold.
I threw in, a couple, rap or hip hop albums,
Right.
for good measure. But these are kind of the albums that kind of shape my music
Yeah.
taste going forward.
At least we're not like Insane Clown Posse. Like, that's what shaped me
Cisco,
as a
the
person.
Stong song.
The Fast and Furious soundtrack. All right, yeah, these are good ones. All right, my last one is Kendrick Lamar, the album Damn.
Yep.
I just remember when that came out, it was just like the best album. Like everyone was listening to it.
Yep.
I was doing on my mail route, like bumping some Kendrick Lamar pretty hard.
Yep. All right, my honorable mention. I'm
you
just going to
knock
run
them
through
out.
them.
Yeah.
At the drive-in, Relationship of Command, because that Omar Rodriguez Lopez then spurned, and a couple of those guys spurned into, turned into Mars Volta,
Yeah.
and then, we can talk about Mars Volta, but Bone Thugs and Harmony East,
Oh,
1999 Eternal.
Shout out Bone Thugs.
See, so I'm going back. I'm going pre-2002, bro.
You go back to those
Like,
rollerblade days.
I'm going
at
like
the skating
97, bro.
yeah.
And then 10 by Pearl Jam. Eddie
a
Vedder,
classic
you
one.
talked about, somebody speaking to you when they sing. Like, I'm starting to get goosebumps thinking about that album. 10 by Pearl Jam is really good. And then The Earth is Not a Cold, Dead Place by Explosions in the Sky.
Nice.
So I kind of covered kind of a
It's a
lot.
good spectrum of
a
music
lot
for
there.
sure.
So if I just had to like send him into the world with like some
Right, yeah, because he has like a
Direction.
Walkman with like these albums.
yeah,
on it.
like here's kind
he's
of
gonna have a
everything.
good taste in
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So that was it.
All right, my honorable mentions is Mogwai. Hardcore will never die, but you will. Mogwai is one of our favorite bands, and that's my favorite Mogwai album. Pontiac is another band that Claire and I love that no one else ever listens to, and their newest album, which sucks because it's like 5 years old. They really need to put something else out. It's called Dialectic of Ignorance. It's just like a more heavy album than what they've done recently, and Pontiac's really good. It's like three brothers from the Smoky Mountains of Virginia, and they just like live on a farm together, and you have a recording studio there, and yeah, and I would recommend Pontiac to anybody. Kanye West, again, really into Kanye the last few weeks. My favorite for him, it was a toss-up between 808s and Heartbreaks or The Life of Pablo, and I've been listening to Life of Pablo a lot more recently, so I put that on there. Say what you will, man, Kanye's really fucking good. We'll get back on that later.
I turned on Kanye Friday, and Lauren was like, "What are you doing listening to Kanye West?" I was like,
He's a fucking lyrical genius, okay?
fucking Kanye West,
The voice of a generation.
It's fucking easy, bro. Like,
Dude, everything he says, it's like, God damn, he's so crazy. But then you listen to him, it's like, God damn, he's so good, though, man.
have you listened to his episode on Rogan? There's some really insightful shit.
Dude,
like, people think he's crazy, but he's just not. He's not crazy.
He's just like a fucking alien.
He is.
He's just from somewhere else.
Yeah.
We'll get back onto that because I got some what you watching with some Kanye. I decided to go with like one kind of indie album, and this was one that Ailey already loves. She's a big Arcade Fire fan, so I went with Everything Now. That's probably my favorite album of theirs.
Nice.
And then last but not least, love them or hate them. For some reason, a lot of people I know don't like them, but I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan.
Yeah,
I really
he gets
like
a lot of hate.
Dude, fucking, he's the boss, dude. Bruce Springsteen is a shit. And Darkness on the Edge of Town is, in my opinion, one of the best like top 10 albums of all time. It's like all the way through. When I was having to do all my jury duty and like my drug course class for all that, I was going through like hard Bruce Springsteen phase. Like I was like some 50-year-old recovering addict
Right.
listening to the boss. I'd be getting in my old Silverado and I'd crank up some Springsteen and drive home from my drug class. So
With your white New Balances on.
so it's like always like that album's always burnt into my mind about like a period of time in my life where I was having to go through all that shit, and I was just like big Bruce Springsteen fan.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that was our Mount Rushmores for albums to show our children, and our next one is.
Hey, and if anybody's listening, like other than Brady, send it in, man. If you got kids, what do you want your kids listening
yeah,
to?
for sure,
Yeah, I feel kind of weird up here always asking, but it'd be pretty cool if we had a little feedback.
a little engagement, that'd be cool. All right, so our next one is our greatest sports franchises to never win a championship.
Yeah,
and we
this
could've-
was inspired from Cincinnati, which we were going to record like a month ago.
Yeah, and we could have broken this down even farther and been like greatest individual teams because there's like
like teams that
the 90 whatever
2000
Seattle Mariners.
I was going to say
or whatever.
2001, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
that was the 116 win team after A-Rod. And then,
Yeah.
just not to win it. And
Yeah, so
like
we
the
could've-
2007 Mavericks
Yeah.
that won 68 fucking games and lost to Golden State in the first round.
And this was not the Golden State you think of now.
No, this was
This was
Baron Davis, I think, was on that team.
Baron Davis and Mike
Jason
Bibby.
Richardson.
No, not Mike.
He was
Jason
Sacramento.
Richardson.
Jason Richardson was a fucking good player for
Yeah.
a while, man. He was like one of the best dunkers in the league, but yeah, it was because they had Don Nelson was the coach, and Don Nelson was like, "Yeah, I know exactly how to fucking beat these guys."
Yeah.
It was just like the worst matchup. Like,
So we could have, we really
No,
could have
that's a good
broken
one.
that
We
down
really-
even
we
further,
should.
like individual teams, like year and
like one of those Buffalo teams was
Yeah.
probably like, could have won it.
yeah.
Not against Cowboys, but you know.
All right, so I'll let you go first this time.
Well, speaking of Buffalo, I'll just go ahead and say it because it might be on yours too. Buffalo Bills, they have 4 Super Bowl appearances, 4 straight chances, man, all against the same division, the NFC East, and excuse me, still got a good team. I think they're at this situation now where like they have a good window to at least make an argument to make a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. So nothing since '94, but they're a prominent team now.
Yep. So this one's really easy for me. A real homer pick. FC Dallas.
Okay.
They're not a great franchise, but they've never won. Damn it.
Well, have they been like opportunities though?
Yeah, we've been to the conference finals twice. We played in an MLS Cup, which is the final once.
When do you know when? I don't even know that.
2010, we made it, and we lost to Colorado.
Fucking
So
Colorado.
we're like one of like maybe 2 or 3 of the original 10.
Are we original 10?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that have never won it. So now, quick math in my head. I think we may be the last original franchise to never win.
Shit.
So, FC Dallas for me, and I'll bore you in a little bit later. Their season kicked off, so
Yeah.
I'll give you a little update on
Yeah, we'll go to that
FC
game.
Dallas.
All right, I try to get one from every sport. So my next one's the Vancouver Canucks. They have 3 cup appearances, the 81-82 season, 93-94, and 2010-11 season. And I think it's just got to be hard to be a Canadian team. And one of the few, I think the other one was Winnipeg, but Winnipeg left to Arizona, and then they got their team back. So really it's just like, it might just be Vancouver, like, you know, just a Canadian team with no Stanley Cup.
If for whatever reason we have Canadian listeners, somebody can correct me. I want to say that like Vancouver is considered, you know how like Toronto is considered like New York Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Vancouver isn't
Like Seattle.
considered like very Canadian, you know, because it's like a very Americanized city over there, and it's all
Isn't it right over Washington State? There?
Yeah, it's
on
right
the other
like
side.
Seattle, and then
Yeah.
boom, you're into Vancouver
Uh-huh.
because that's in the MLS like that.
Probably very liberal. Like
that Portland, Vancouver, Seattle rivalry is like huge.
that's got to be cool then for the Kraken.
Yeah, so
Man,
So,
that'd
yeah.
be so cool if we had Canadian listeners.
it'd be cool if we had listeners.
Yeah, that's true. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're thinking we're going international.
Yeah,
It's like I don't think anyone outside this
think-
room's gonna listen.
no, I think Lauren even stopped listening.
Damn,
So
Claire never listened, dude.
Lauren listened to everyone.
Claire has never listened.
Oh,
to
she's
me
right
5
there.
minutes.
She's coming. She's coming.
That's what
Oh,
she
nope.
said. Okay. She heard me and she walked away. She's mad.
That's what she said.
I'm in trouble.
All right. So Vancouver, that's a good call. This one was pretty obvious. I think it's probably on there somewhere for you. Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
We've got 2 appearances.
Back-to-back years,
We were
man.
1 strike away twice.
I think that's the most heartbreaking point, to be that close twice.
And then I've always heard that the reason that ball got over Nelson Cruz's head is because he was creeping in because he wanted to be there to celebrate.
Yep, fuck that guy. Never forget that he just. That's the thing.
People don't
He
forget.
wanted to be there like a half a second earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you've 162 games, a whole like rounds of playoffs, and he just wanted to be there 1 second faster than somebody else. That's what cost us the championship, guys.
Yep.
That's
So-
it. I know Brady's probably. It's tough to hear it, but
He'll shed a tear when he hears this.
he'll hear it.
But, you know, the outlook on the team, you know, I know CBA between them and the players union and the owners isn't going anywhere, and they've already canceled opening day and all
Yeah.
that. But hopefully when everything does get rolling, the outlook for the Rangers doesn't look half bad.
Dude, the Raiders had a good offseason, which
Yeah.
this would be the moment where we could actually talk to Brady, who's more knowledgeable in all this. But 2 big signings,
Marcus Semien and Seager.
and Seager, and then we've been drafting high in the last few years, so those guys can develop. I think was it Josh Young's probably going to be ready, and was it Al Leiter or was that his son?
Jack Leiter.
Jack Leiter.
Yeah.
These 2 guys are hopefully high end prospects that can be coming up the next year or 2. Now the outlook for the Rangers is pretty high. It might, considering with the last like 4 or 5 years where we've been, and now we can go enjoy games in air conditioning, which.
Have you been yet?
No, dude.
It's-
I'm sure it's a game changer.
That is the way God meant for us to enjoy baseball.
It might have been the last game I went to. Me and my dad went for Father's Day,
Mhm.
and they were good seats. And I remember the temperature only getting to like 95, 96, but we were fucking miserable.
But if you're directly in the sun, that 95, 96
Yeah,
is
and
like
it was
106.
I remember we were on the lower level, like third base line, and if we had just been a few rows back, we would have been shaded from the upper decks. But yeah, we were in the sun the whole time, and me and my dad were like, "Well, next time let's just sit in the shade." Well, next time we can just. And can't you bring your own food in there?
I don't know about that anymore. I know you could in the old stadium.
Yeah, and back in the day, we'd both out with like bags of chips and Cokes, and yeah.
Yep. Well,
But Ranger game reasonably priced. Let's go.
I got the entire family in for $24,
That's ridiculous.
and it was on Father's Day, and I sat in the AC, and it was amazing.
I can't wait. Yeah, just get it done. It's just billionaires complaining to millionaires about how to divide up all this money that they're making. So just make your money. Like, let us just enjoy baseball.
Just give us baseball. I mean, World War III is on the horizon. Just give us baseball.
Yeah. And didn't you say it's like how we just grazed over World War III? It's like, but back to baseball, okay? Didn't you tell me that it's like that soccer passed it in a national
like engagement,
ranking?
yeah.
That's crazy to me, man.
Yep.
So yeah,
Well,
baseball just needs to.
Manfred is so bad for baseball.
Manfred is the fucking worst. I can't stand that guy.
And there's this guy named Roger Goodell out there.
Yeah, you're right. He actually takes the throne as worst commissioner. There's only like 4 that you can. I don't even know the hockey commissioner, but
that might be Gary Bettman. I don't know.
That must be a good thing
anymore.
if we don't know his name, I guess. But yeah, that you could be the worst at your job, and literally everyone boos Goodell every time they see him. They're like, "Oh, at least he's not as bad as Manfred." I'll never forgive him for what he did with that Houston cheating scandal by not punishing a single player and not doing anything to punish. Like they willingly and knowingly cheated to get a championship, and you not only let them keep the championship, but you didn't punish anybody.
No.
Well, I think like the general manager and the manager, but yeah, none of the players got suspended a single game. So we'll get more into baseball as the story develops. We'll keep you updated. But I also had the Texas Rangers on here. Yeah, I just put back pennants and all that, and the 1 strike away twice. So it's hard to mention it, but it was we had to bring it up. So
that was my second one.
That was your second one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm on to my 4th one then because I piggybacked yours. So,
all right, let me give you my third one.
Catch
I
up.
went a little crazy or outside the box. Okay. I went college football, Oregon Ducks.
Ooh, that's a good. I didn't even think about going college football.
Oregon Ducks. As many good, programs and years that they've had there, they've never won. And
like, I'm trying to think, is it like ever? Because Texas A&M claims like 13 titles from like the 20s alone.
I don't think ever, bro.
Wow. Then yeah, that is because with their program and the money and influence that Phil Knight gives them, you would think they could just buy one by now.
Nope. I mean, maybe they can now, transfer portal and
Whatever
the NIL deals,
NIL,
and, stuff like that. Maybe that's going to come their way, but nope, never did.
No, it's a good call.
Yep.
Have you played them in NCAA
Oh
yet?
yeah, not an issue for the A&M Commerce Lions. Somebody created a A&M Commerce Lions on the team builder, and so I imported it. And yeah, so
You're just running the country now.
Yeah, I've kind of backed off of it. Obviously, like I haven't been able to play near as much, but yeah, I'm building a solid program.
I'm doing that with Madden with the Jets. Jets are looking fucking good this year. It's like 2024. Draft classes coming in. Oh yeah.
I see you wanted to take the hardest project on the game.
Yeah, I took them because I immediately traded Le'Veon Bell for Josh Allen, the defensive end from Jacksonville. So I got a good D-line help. They had Mikael Brockton, so I got a good left tackle on a rookie contract. And then I really like Denzel Mims, so he's already like my number 1 receiver. They just had little
shout out Baylor.
Yeah, for real. I really not like for real shout out Baylor, but I really thought Denzel Mims was going to be better in the league than what he is. But they just had good young pieces that I feel like I could build around. And then that was the year before they traded Jamal Adams. So the year I start, I have 2 first-round picks and 2 first-round picks for the next year. So it's just like a good team to build around.
Oh, for sure.
So anyways, yeah. So been playing with the Jets lately.
Which one's your last one?
My last one is the Indiana Pacers. To me, it probably hits a little harder for them because basketball in Indiana is like what football is here in Texas. Like they're a basketball hungry state, and they've only had 1 finals appearance, and that was in 2000. And if you watched, they had that Netflix documentary about the Malice in the Palace, and I remember that brawl like when it happened, just because it was one of the biggest news stories of the year. But what I forgot was how good that team was, and that they were building up for like years to get there. That's when Jermaine O'Neal was coming along, and Ron Artest was like one of the best defenders in the league, and Reggie Miller was still really clutch. Like they built this team, like specifically with this goal, obviously with the goal in mind to win it, but they were like the favorite to win that year. And then when the Malice in the Palace happened, and like Ron Artest was suspended for the rest of the year, and Jermaine O'Neal got all these like 40-something games, and it just tanked their season, and that would have been their year. Because I think it was the year before they were in the finals, and so they were building off of that, and then the early in the year was Malice in the Palace, and it just ruined their whole season, and the team fell apart from there. But I really think that was their best team and their best shot to win it, and then that night in Detroit happened.
Yeah.
It just changed the franchise.
It's kind of crazy that Reggie Miller squandered that whole career.
I mean, Dan Marino stayed in Miami, never won.
I know. Yeah. You see it. It's just,
I know, and it reminded me how good Reggie Miller was.
Reggie Miller is one of my favorites of
He
all
was.
time.
He was like one of the coldest shooters. He was Steph Curry before Steph
and
Curry.
dude, he was a shit talking son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like that, the image of him turning to Spike Lee and going like this, the choking sign.
Because I think
so
that
cold,
that was a playoff game where they were done, and he
scored like 14 points in like 8 seconds or
I was
something
gonna
like
say,
that.
I think it was, you're very close. It was like over 10 points in like under 30 seconds or something crazy like that.
It was some
Which
crazy.
in high school that would be difficult, but professional playoffs, it's ridiculous. Dang, I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember now. But
I love Reggie Miller.
I was gonna say I was gonna say he reminds me of Trae Young. Really reminds me of Reggie Miller because Trae Young's like cold blooded, ice Trae, loves to talk shit, and he's just like a good shooter. So I feel like Trae Young is like the new Reggie Miller, which I like Reggie Miller way more than I like Trae Young. I guess it's because of like the petty rivalry with Luka coming out together. But yeah, Pacers just because how big basketball is there.
Yep, that's a good call. Another place where this sport is absolutely big. I'm going with the Netherlands. I guess men's national soccer team never won a World Cup. There's only like 5 or 6 nations that have won a World Cup. And
That have one? What?
Yeah.
Brazil, Germany, England, France, Italy, and then probably like that's 5, right?
Yeah, that may be it.
Dude, that's crazy.
That may be it.
Like Argentina never had a.
Argentina won one.
Oh,
so Brazil, Italy, Germany, Argentina, Uruguay, France, Spain.
Uruguay won?
Yeah,
what year did
like
they?
1930 something, like 33 or something.
I was gonna say that was like when A&M won the national championship.
But yeah, so the Netherlands, they got robbed in 2010. Against Mexico. There was a red card. There should have been a red card in one of in like a quarterfinal or maybe a semifinal match. There should have been a red card because Iron Robin got taken down. And then they got screwed on Mexico. There was a Mexico game in 2016 that there was a questionable call in. But yeah, so the Netherlands has invented they've invented like formations and tactics that are still used today. And Johan Cruyff was probably one of the greatest players to ever play. He was Netherlands. They've been in the finals 3 times. 2 of those times they've lost to the host. Twice were in extra time. So they could have been 3-time World Cup champions, but it's never happened. So,
well, I know who I'm going to root for. Is it in Dubai?
It is in Qatar.
Same thing.
No, don't think so.
I'm an American. I'm terrible at geography.
Don't think so. No, they're very different. But yeah, so the Netherlands, and then I'm gonna run through my honorable mention real quick. Buffalo Bills, you already mentioned. Seattle Mariners, they had
that 116 win season.
They had Randy Johnson, A-Rod, King Griffey Jr. all on the same team. Never got it done.
Crazy.
And then the LA/San Diego Chargers. You think about the years with Breeze, all the years with Rivers, Tomlinson, Fouts,
Kellen Winslow,
and then Merriman.
That's always been a pretty good franchise.
Yeah, I remember like the teams with like Breeze and Tomlinson, and then even early Rivers and Tomlinson having some crazy playoff exits, like last-second field goals, just kind of unlucky shit happened in the playoffs. So that was one that kind of stood out, was the LA or San Diego Chargers. That was kind of really the only, them and the Bills were kind of really the only football teams that you can throw in Detroit, but Detroit's a dumpster fire, always have been. Barry Sanders took him to the playoffs single-handedly in the 90s a few times. Who else?
Cleveland,
but
I didn't put them on there, though. But I got somebody that you didn't mention. 4 Super Bowl appearances and no championships. Minnesota.
Yeah, I thought
they've got
Minnesota.
Some bad luck in the playoffs, too. And then, what was it? They had good luck. I was thinking the Minnesota Miracle, but that was Diggs catching it and taking it in.
Yeah.
That was New Orleans had a terrible string of luck with that
But
non-PI call, and then the next year.
But they did go 15-1 and lose.
That was the Carter, Moss, and who was their quarterback?
Culpepper.
Culpepper. God, that was a great team.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose on a field goal?
Something like that. Culpepper he had a huge arm, and you have fucking Chris Carter and Randy Moss, like young Randy Moss. So he would literally take a 7-step and just chunk it fucking 60 yards. And you're like, fuck it, they're down there somewhere.
Where would you rank Moss on your receiver rankings?
2.
Me too. Behind Jerry Rice. Yeah, I think it goes Moss or Rice, Moss, and then
Owens.
You go T.O.?
He's in the conversation.
I could see that. I mean, that's not bad.
Look at his stats. He's in the because I thought the same thing too because I don't like him. But look at his stats. I mean,
he is like top 5 in damn near everything.
He's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely make that argument.
He's
I'm drawing a blank, man, but I was like, I had somebody good on deck too, and then T.O. just like gave me a big brain fart.
Sorry. Yeah, but T.O., he's there. Like, I tried to deny it too, but he's there.
Calvin Johnson?
I think
for his window of time?
For his window of time, no doubt.
I think I can agree on that. Rice, Moss, Owens. All right, my honorable mentions are, I just said Minnesota Vikings. Another basketball team was the Utah Jazz. They had back-to-back finals appearances, lost, and then obviously lost. Tampa Bay Rays. They've won 2 pennants, and they were just like the laughing stock of the league, you know, when they first came in. And then I really think it was after they dropped the devil part and they just wouldn't go by the Rays. They've just started like winning, 2 pennants since then. They've won multiple divisional titles, and they just do it, kind of like the Moneyball way, like the Oakland Athletics. So to compete in that market with Toronto, which we already said is the New York of Canada, the actual New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, and then you got Tampa Bay here. Tampa Bay's just always a contender. So
Yep. I do miss the Devil Rays, those old school unis though.
Yeah,
fucking sweet.
Like the purple with like that
green and purple.
Steve Irwin's like least favorite team.
So we were talking about NFL wide receivers, and it made me look, and Larry Fitzgerald is second all time.
Yeah, but I feel like he
had
accumulated.
He had a 16-year
Yeah,
career.
he accumulated all those.
But so did Jerry Rice played from 85 to 04.
Okay, but no one's debating Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is on top of that hill. So my question is, how many years did Moss play, though?
Moss played from 98 to 2012.
That's about 14 years,
Yeah, so.
I would still, though, like, if they were like, all right, you're going to build a team and say Jerry Rice isn't there, and I get to pick the first receiver, I think I'm going to take Randy Moss. And I want those Marshall shoulder pads, too. That's, like, eating his whole fucking body.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Jerry Rice's stats in the playoffs?
I'm sure they're
fucking
lovely.
Unreal. They're unreal numbers in the playoffs alone.
That's why it's undebatable. Like, he did it at every level, Where did he come out of, like, Grand Valley State or some shit like that?
Stupid like that, yeah.
That's when scouting was fucking cool. Where you're like, no, there's this guy named Jerry, and I think he's going to go in the first round.
Check it out. He plays at a small school in Idaho.
Right?
But he's going to be the all-time best receiver. And then he's not going to endorse a product called Jerry's Rice.
How is he? And it's San Francisco.
It's right there.
It's like the rice capital of America. How are you not going to own a rice company? I don't know. That's bugged me ever since, like, I was in my 20s. Like, why did he not do a rice endorsement deal?
I don't know, man. Missed opportunity. All right. So yep, that's our Mount Rushmores for today.
And again, listeners, if you have any ideas for Mount Rushmores, let us know, because
text us.
We run out of ideas
very quickly. All right, what do you want to do now? Where are we going?
I don't know. Only thing we mentioned was I can do the basketball stats or the whatever it's called, standings. We can talk about what happened in Mexico, which I don't know a whole lot about what happened, except that it was fucking crazy and tragic.
Yeah, all the report, and I haven't looked at it today, but all the reports are like, yeah, for no reason. This happened for no reason, just because Mexican soccer culture is fucking terrible.
So it wasn't like a controversial call. It wasn't like one team, like beat the shit, like I'm gonna beat y'all 7-0 and run up the score.
Nope.
That I could understand like a fight breaking out. But how the fuck do 17 people die at a fight at a soccer game? And it wasn't like it was just like a full on like riot broke out.
They were on the field and everything.
Yeah, the video I saw, because I just checked it late last night, opened up Reddit, and then there's just like naked bodies like laying in like, I don't know what it's called, like the stadium, but before you enter the stadium, it's like where the concessions would be in the bathrooms, and there's just like naked people laying there and they're fucking dead, and I'm just like, what is happening? And I opened it and it's like, yeah, 17 confirmed. They're saying like children as well, so I don't know like what happened. I texted my buddy who's a big soccer fan, and he said he was watching the game when that shit when it went down. He just said it was crazy. He's like, yeah, they're being savage.
Yeah, they've had sanctions put on them before because
Like
there's
very homophobic stuff, right?
yeah, because
Remember that.
When an opposing goalkeeper is taking a kick, like as he's kicking the ball, they'll yell "puto," which is I think faggot. Faggot? Can I say that on?
Well, you said it twice, so I guess.
But yeah, so there's some homophobic stuff that they do.
And that's just fucking childish.
It's
you know what
so
I mean?
dumb,
Like
like,
that's something like we would have said in junior high, and
think-
then 2 years later to be like, that was really stupid. To
Yeah, I
say
think
that.
we've aged out of that.
Yeah, at like 14, you age out of that.
Yeah, so they've always had that. Their culture just sucks. Like I remember
Culture just sucks.
their soccer culture. Let me
Delicious
rephrase-
food, though.
Yes, let me rephrase that. Their soccer culture is just terrible. Like I remember there was a game in like I don't know, like 2005 or 7. The national team was playing in the Azteca where that happened, and Landon Donovan scored, and he went to the corner, and there's a infamous picture where there's just bottles and cups full of piss that they were throwing at him. It's kind of scary because the U.S. has a big qualifier down in Azteca in 2 weeks. They've suspended the rest of play for the season as of now. I haven't, like I said, I haven't followed it up today, so I don't know what's happened since. But
I don't think it's going to be there.
you may suspend it for the rest of the season. I think they should have no fans. I think they should lose the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's fucked up, but that's where you hit them the most is like in their wallet. So to be like, you're going to lose the right to this game. There's no one going to be here. They're going to lose a lot of money. And
I think they should just go play it in Canada. Because in qualifiers, you play each nation twice, one home, one away. And they've already played us here. And so I don't think it's right to give us the game, but go play in Canada or go play it down in, I don't know, another country. But they shouldn't be able to host
there's got
for the rest of qualifying.
There's got to be some repercussions.
Because we're not talking about a chant anymore. We're not talking about a skirmish.
17 people died. What the
And
fuck?
rumored.
And it wasn't like a shooting, which is terrible enough. Those people were like beaten to death, dude. Like repeatedly beaten until their body gave up.
Yeah, and there are some reports that there were some kids among that 17. So this isn't,
This is terrible.
this isn't hooliganism. This isn't a scrap between a group of 20 people and isolated incident.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like a fight in a parking lot.
No.
A fight broke out, and then it went on the field, and 17
You need to
people
take,
died.
as a federation and as a country, you need to take it seriously, and you need to learn a lesson. So take the game, take all their home game. They should play the rest of the qualifiers away from home.
Yeah. There's got to be something.
17 people died.
17 people, like you keep saying it, but it's fucking hard to fathom that.
Yeah,
Go to a soccer game, and that shit happens.
Yeah. So, we can go there.
I think we just went there, dog.
Yep. FC Dallas, they kicked off their season last week. It was a 1-1 draw against – who did they play? Doesn't matter.
I got a soccer question.
Yo,
Is it a soccer game or is it a match?
it's a match.
Okay. I always
Technically, I'm not that snobby.
I see you
when it
rolling
comes
your
to
eyes every time I say a soccer
No.
game.
I don't get snobby. Where I do is I don't like it when people call goalkeepers goalies. Because that's
Goalkeeper?
that's a hockey term. Like keeper or goalkeeper is more soccer, and goalie is like more hockey.
Okay.
That bugs me for some reason. But game, match, doesn't matter.
What's nil? What's that
0.
come from? I know what it means. But what's like the origin?
Don't know. Probably Latin.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I don't know. We'll go with that. They played Toronto FC last week and drew 1-1. I've bitched about the narrative of the Hunts being cheap and not spending money. I can't say that anymore because we actually made some moves this offseason.
But they sold Pepe, right?
Yeah.
Did the team have a say in that, or was Pepe like, I'm out of here in any way?
Oh, the team has a say. But the player can't force his way out.
Okay.
But he's still contracted by the team. So the team's ultimately
Given the option, though, what would you think it'd be better to go where he's at now?
yeah, for him developmentally, absolutely.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it was probably like mutual.
It'll pay off for the United States in the long run because he's playing against better competition every day in training. He's playing against better competition,
And then when we
games.
have national team tournaments,
He'll come in and he'll be a better player.
it's like Christian Pulisic. Like he's
Yeah.
only gotten better since he's
Yeah.
been in. Is he in Chelsea?
Chelsea, yeah.
I think the guy's selling that too, isn't he? I thought I saw the guy that's
Roman
owns Chelsea.
Abramovich, yep.
Yeah, that he was. Because I was like, I wonder how much he'll get for that fucking team.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would
He's being
imagine
forced to
Chelsea's
sell.
got to be one of. He's being forced.
Or there's pressure. Yeah.
Oh, he do something bad.
Well, he's Russian. He's friends with Putin.
Oh yeah, he's probably an oligarch. Which
He is an
we have
oligarch.
that here too. You know, we have oligarchs here. We just
Yeah, we call it.
entrepreneurship and.
But I saw you posted that. I don't like because when I think entrepreneurship, I think about the little guys, and the little guys aren't out here making $1 billion.
no,
So when the term entrepreneurship,
it's like elite entrepreneurship
Okay,
is what it
there
should
you
be.
go. I like
Like
that.
Mark Zuckerberg's an
I like
entrepreneur.
that. I like that
Yeah,
better.
because Claire's a fucking entrepreneur. She's not an
Exactly.
oligarch.
Exactly.
No,
I like that better.
If you have $100 million in a bank that doesn't get taxed, like in an offshore
In
account,
Bermuda.
yeah, you're a fucking oligarch. It doesn't matter what country you're in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they've spent some money this offseason.
Damn, that sucks. He's getting pressured to sell.
Yeah, I mean he's Russian. He's friends with Putin.
But you
dude.
know what? It's gonna be like, okay, it's like when who was it, Ballmer for the Clippers? They're like, oh, you got to sell your teams. Like, okay, I guess I'll make $2 billion in a day.
Yeah, yeah.
The fuck do I care? I'll still be a billionaire. Like, oh, poor guy's got to sell his team and make billions of dollars. Yeah, y'all really showed him.
Yep. So, but yeah, so they played yesterday. They played New England and lost 1-0 on the road.
Shit.
But it's going to be a lot of gelling. Like
How many games are in
34,
Okay, that takes a while, dude. Because they play like what, 1 or 2 games a week
one,
on average. One.
and then later in the season you will have like a midweek game.
Is that how it was like when you were growing up? It was like football. It's like 1 game a week.
When I was playing high school, we played Tuesdays and Fridays
See, I thought it'd be more of like a 2 game a week season or sport.
because, like, especially in England, you got to think like you have your league, so you're playing in league play, and then you have all these other tournaments that you're playing in simultaneously in conjunction with the league. So you in England, you could be playing for the Premiership title, the FA Cup, which is
So much going on. That's all money though.
the League Cup, and then if you qualify for Europe, you're either playing in Champions League or Europa League.
And
So
these are things that go on at the same time.
your league play does not stop.
Jesus Christ.
So they do play, twice a week. But here we do have a version of that. It's called the U.S. Open Cup. So, but the MLS teams don't get involved until later in the rounds, and then the MLS teams will come in, and then you will have like a Tuesday Saturday situation or a Wednesday Saturday situation.
Well, I really want to go to a game. Again, there's a Jersey Mike's nearby, so we can stop
I know
at
exactly
Jersey
where it's at.
Mike's. We'll stop there.
I think, what do we say, the 16th?
I think
You said
so.
2 dates. It's the Portland game. That'll be a good game to go to.
Dude,
It'll be a good game.
Portland goes hard.
So
Portland games are actually fun to watch because that crowd is fucking into it.
speaking of crowds, we were texting last night. I was like, I'm watching there's a expansion team this year, Charlotte FC. They set the single game attendance record was like 73,000.
And I was going to ask, is that like their stadium or were they playing where the Panthers
They're playing where the Panthers are
I was
playing.
going to say, man, good for them for putting up money to build that stadium for a soccer team.
while their stadium's being built.
But it's not going to hold 74,000 people.
No, that'll just make
Maybe like
season
20.
They'll have wait lists for. No, they'll probably make it. They're newer ones. Yes, like back in the day, like we were the second soccer specific stadium in the country
Ours seems small, too.
because back then 20,000 was about
Is that our capacity?
21, yeah. But now like these newer clubs are coming in with 40,000, 50,000 seat stadiums.
Damn.
But yeah, so and we were talking about it last night, but Charlotte, first ever game set the single game attendance record for like 73 and change, 74,000. I know the weather was shitty last Saturday, but there was 12,000.
Weather wasn't that shitty, to be honest. It wasn't like pouring rain.
I don't care if it was the same conditions in Seattle, Portland,
yeah.
I hate admitting it, Austin.
Austin already have a better fan base than us. I think that the soccer club going to Austin was like great though, because that seems like it's not a baseball town, it's not a football town. I think soccer would be a good sport for Austin, and they don't have a professional team, so it's something they can all like
Yeah.
cling on to. When I saw that, I was like, I thought that was genius.
And the numbers, like you'll look at like Premiership, like viewer, like TV ratings, and like World Cup TV ratings, and Austin is always high up.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a
That was a good move. I think MLS is being really smart too about where they pick these teams,
Mm-hmm.
because I would put a team like in Alabama or Mississippi. These teams that, well, maybe not. I don't know. Somewhere where New Mexico, where they don't have a professional team, and you're going to be the one and only. Like Oklahoma City Thunder, they're the only professional sports team in all of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Everyone's a fucking Thunder fan.
Yeah.
Go somewhere where they don't. You're not competing with 5 other major pro sports in that one town or that one state and just dominate.
And they also take into account, like they look at viewership on TV. They look at like when the national team comes and plays in that town, like what's the turnout like? And then a lot of it is grassroots. Like I think Charlotte, came in and it started with like a Facebook page, like bring MLS to Charlotte, and then it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and then it finally, like Don Garber couldn't ignore it anymore. It was like, holy shit, maybe I should look into Charlotte.
Yeah.
They made their pitches, ownership team groups got together, and boom, that's how it happens. I think next year St. Louis comes in. St. Louis is like kind of like historically been a hotbed. Like a lot of good players have come out of St. Louis. Taylor Twellman, if you ever watch.
Never heard of them.
If you ever watch games on ESPN, he's one of the commentators. He played for the national team.
I know Alexi
Lawless.
Lawless.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one guy I'm like, oh yeah, he's a commentator.
But yeah, St. Louis has been a hotbed. St. Louis University there is constantly in the top 25 every year, ranked in NCAA soccer.
That's
that
a
makes
good
sense.
soccer town. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they just lost their football team. They don't have a basketball team. They don't have a hockey team either, do they? It's just
the Blues.
oh, duh, you're right. Fuck them. That's who beat us.
Yeah.
In the Western Finals a couple years ago.
Yeah. So, so I can't say that Dan Hunt and the Hunts have been cheap, because they went out and they spent money. They've gone aggressive on marketing. They've got like a 100-foot banner in downtown Dallas, because there's a lot of people that don't even know that there is a soccer club here, a professional team. And I was listening to the Third Degree podcast, Buzz Carrick, who's been following the team since 1996, who's from the beginning, day one. He says that he'll be there for you because you've been there. They've got a huge they've got a huge complex, and they hold a lot of youth tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
There were people at those youth tournaments watching FCD youth teams play that didn't know that FC Dallas had a professional team. And he's like, yeah, that big stadium right there, that's where the first team plays.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I thought that was a high school football stadium. I'm like, no. So, but slowly they're changing that. We've got a new head coach. So slowly kind of everything is kind of changing. The narrative is changing. So I'm excited to see where it goes this year. I don't know.
I'm excited to get out there again.
Let's do it.
I had a great time. We made some friends were they from Nigeria?
Yeah.
Those are good people.
Good people.
Good people.
Yeah. So, all right. You wanna get into what do we watch, or do your basketball?
I was just gonna do some standings because we're
Do
we're
the
getting
basketball.
late. We're getting late into the season. Eastern Conference. We got the Heat, 76ers, Bucks, Bulls, Celtics, Cavs, Raptors, and the Nets slipping in 8th place, and that's the play-in game. What is it, 7 and 8 or
I thought
play-in?
it was 8 and 9.
8 and 9 play-in game. 9 was Charlotte Hornets, looking pretty good. 10 is the Atlanta Hawks, who were actually in the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
And slipped quite hard. Out of all that, I made a bet with my buddy at work, the same one I made the Bengals bet with, that paid off because they made it to the Super Bowl, and then we made a double or nothing for the actual game. But so I got some money out of it, but he wanted the same with Western Conference team. He picked the Suns, which is a good bet because right now they're 51-12. So it's a 3-1. He has the Suns. I have everyone else in the West to try to make it out.
Give me that bet.
Yeah, I felt confident because I still got the Warriors. I think Warriors. Okay, Warriors might be the one team that can contend with them. Right now, it's Suns, Grizzlies, which John Morant's looking like an MVP candidate. If you ever like randomly see a Grizzlies game on, just put it on just to see that guy do something crazy. Yeah, Warriors in the 3 seed. Then we got Jazz, Mavericks in 5. So if it ended today, it would be Mavericks Jazz. That would be a good series. Then we go Nuggets, Timberwolves, Clippers, and in the 9-10 is the Lakers and Pelicans. So Lakers falling hard too, just like the Hawks did in the East. Where
Fuck LeBron.
yeah, I'm cool with that. The guys, I don't know if you saw this play. I think it was from last night when they were playing the Warriors. Warriors were trying to inbound at like mid court, and I don't remember who tipped it, but someone tipped it on the inbound, got the ball, and then LeBron just starts running up the baseline like on the opposite end, and he does an alley-oop from like half court, and LeBron goes up with one hand and dunks it, and I'm like, that guy's like 38 years old. He's been in the NBA since I was in high school. He's just the greatest athlete I've ever seen. Like, you say fuck LeBron, and I get it because people are tired of him, but he's, in my opinion, the second greatest basketball player of all time, and he is the best fucking athlete I've ever seen. To be that old, and not only has he played like 18 years, but I think with all his playoff experience, he's probably like his legs are like, yeah, like 20-something years in the league. And the fact that he can still just go up and get that ball it's very impressive to me. But that was a little bit of basketball. That was like 2 minutes on
He's a
basketball.
Cowboys fan too.
Yeah, he's a bandwagon guy. He's like Yankees, Cowboys, and he plays for the Lakers. He's that guy, which nobody likes that guy.
And then when the Indians are in the World Series, he'll show up there or whatever.
Who's that? You mean the Guardians?
Oh, dude, that's gonna take me so long, dude.
Bro, what are you talking about?
I'm just now getting around to like not calling the Raiders Oakland.
Oh, I
The
still do.
Guardians, man. That's gonna
And we got
and the Commanders.
I called them the Commodores at first. I was telling somebody, I was like, yeah, they picked the name. It's the Commodores. And I looked
That
it
might
up,
be
and
better than the Commanders.
And that was like a naval term. So I was like, yeah, dude, he has like a Navy connection because it's in Washington, D.C.
that might be
And then
better.
the next day I was like, oh, it's the Commanders. Okay, well, I felt like a fucking idiot because I went a whole day calling them the Commodores. But anyways, yeah, I know what you mean. I still say San Diego Chargers and Oakland Raiders.
Very rarely will I say St. Louis
St. Louis
Rams.
Rams.
Very rarely I will.
Speaking
but I
of
will.
Rams, they might have all 14 fans listening right now, so congratulations on that Super Bowl.
Yep.
In my opinion,
Good
Matthew
job.
Stafford is still not a Hall of Famer
No.
just because he won one championship. He still has some pretty bad seasons under his belt. I would say this, though. He's not a Hall of Famer, but I think this puts Odell Beckham over the top. I think Odell's now a Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Well, that's my hot take.
It's a hot take, bro.
Stafford not in the Hall of Fame, Odell in. And then Donald is cemented his place up there with like Lawrence fucking Taylor, you know, like one of the greatest. I think it was a good battle between him and JJ Watt, but he's already leapfrogged. I was trying to do like past tense, but that doesn't make sense. JJ Watt, because JJ isn't still the player that Aaron Donald is, and now Donald has that championship. So I think it's safe to say he's probably the best defensive player in the last 20, 25 plus years. Like, he's on that podium by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know who else you'd put him up there with until you get to like Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah. You're probably right. You know,
Like
Reggie White,
or
Strahan.
People forget how good Strahan was just because he's like a TV personality. That guy was a fucking menace for like 15 years.
Ray Lewis.
I love me some Ray. Don't get me started.
You know, you start throwing out names. I think Aaron Donald's. It's hard because it's not apples to apples, but
I think he's the closest to like Reggie White.
yeah, just pure dominant.
Yeah, or
You
what
have-
was his thing? Bruce Allen.
Bruce Smith.
He was Bruce Smith. That boy was blurple.
Oh, it's blurb.
He was. I remember him just being so fucking black.
Why am I blanking? The psychopath out of Pittsburgh. The end.
James Harrison,
Yeah.
Debo.
Yeah.
I would. You put James Harrison in that category with those guys.
He was
He
good
was
for a
good.
long time.
He was good. We're talking about greatest of all time.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him goat.
Nah.
Goat. No.
I would say Paul Malu was a better defensive player than James Harrison. Is that a hot take?
Yeah. No. Yes and no.
Paul Malu's first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Harrison gets in. That's how I'll put it.
think
But Paul Malu's
Polamalu-
first ballot.
Why do I think it was just a short burst for him, like a 4-year stretch, and then it kind of fell off real hard.
I'll tell you this. He's no Ed Reed.
No.
I've always loved Ed Reed.
No.
Ed Reed's probably one of my favorite non-Cowboys players of all time.
Me. We're talking about safeties, Ed Reed and Brian Dawkins. Brian Dawkins.
That's again a guy I hated.
will
playing.
fucking end your life.
Yeah, and who would they have? Brian Westbrook. There was like a period of time where it was like McNabb, Westbrook, and Dawkins. Or like the Eagles. That's why to me the Eagles are our biggest rival because they've been consistent. I know the Giants have won 2 Super Bowls, But from the millennium on, it's like the Eagles have been that consistent, like pain in our ass, like better team.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so you want to get into what are we watching, and we'll wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go really quick because I've actually got
All right,
something to
I'll time it.
contribute.
Okay.
So we are watching on Netflix. It's called Inventing Anna. Inventing
about
Anna. And it's about Anna Delvey, and she was the fake German heiress. Swindled actually did a story on an episode on her.
Okay, well then I've heard it.
Yeah, you have heard it. So she was this woman who said she came from money. Like she was a German heiress. Like her father had a trust fund, and she came over to New York and swindled a bunch of people out of a ton of money, and started this fake.
This is a documentary.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a real story, but it's a.
It's like told with actors and okay.
Yeah, it's got. Oh, I'm gonna get her name wrong. Jennifer Garner, the chick from.
Capital One commercials.
Is that Jennifer Garner?
Maybe not.
Maybe the chick who plays Ruth in Ozark.
I've never seen that show. I know who you're talking about. Now I picture
She's
her
got
now.
the curly hair, but anyway,
That really narrows it down.
Yeah,
She's got curly hair.
in Ozark.
Okay.
It's got her, and then it's got Anna Chomsky, the chick from My Girl.
My Girl. Like the movie with Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that movie came out like 25 years ago, dude.
It still makes me cry.
It does. Dude, that movie is very fucking sad. You know what's bullshit? They made a sequel to that. That fucking two-timing slut. After he fucking died for her, they make a sequel so she can get another boy. Nah, fuck that. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to tell you
Yeah, it's like a.
what else she's been in. She's in
Yeah,
My
Anna
Girl.
Julia Garner. Sorry, Julia Garner, Anna Chomsky, who's
I've heard it. I've heard that because it wasn't mentioned with the Tinder Swindler, which we did watch.
yeah, and then it's got randomly it's got Durs from Workaholics.
It's got Anders.
Yeah, it's got Durs from Workaholics.
Is it like he plays serious guy?
Yeah,
Like,
he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. He plays the wife of the
plays the wife.
the husband.
Oh.
He plays the husband of the reporter who breaks the story on Anna Delvey.
That sounds something Claire would be into.
Oh,
She
it's
would
fair,
want to watch
dude.
it with me.
It was one of those ones where Lauren started watching it, and like I'd walk by and like stop and like watch for a few minutes and just go about my business. And then the next time I'd walk through, I'd stop, watch a few more minutes, and before I knew it, I was laying on the bed with her, and I was like,
Trying
"What
to
is
get
this
caught
about?
up.
What is
Yeah.
this about?" And she's like, "Oh, it's about this chick named Anna, and she swindled a bunch of people." I was like, "Oh shit, yeah."
You hadn't yet swindled.
Yeah, Swindled did an episode on her. I know what you're talking about. I know who this is. And then every night I'm like, hurry up, get home so we can
So this
watch.
is a series.
Yeah, on Netflix.
I feel like that's like the progression. Like, especially if you're married, like watching a movie's cool, but if you find like a 6-part series,
bro.
like a 4 or 5-part series, like hell yeah, this is what we're gonna do all fucking week.
Yeah, so Inventing Anna, it's really, really good. Her name was Anna Sorokin, but her fake name was Anna Delvey over here. But we've heard it on Swindled. He covered it.
No, Claire, we'll watch that for sure.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And then what I've been listening to, I follow this guy on TikTok. His name, I don't know what his name is, but the podcast name is E for Explicit. It's just a dude. And I looked, when I followed him on Apple Podcasts, he had like 12 reviews. So he's kind of a smaller guy, but he gets interviews with kind of important people like FBI agents, profilers, and it covers everything from business to conspiracy to serial killer to true crime, and he just kind of bounces around. It's kind of interview based, and I've been catching up on his stuff. He's got like 50 something episodes. He's just kind of a smaller podcaster, and I follow him on TikTok, and he releases like little clips of his podcast. And that's how I started following and listening to the podcast. And it's just, he has really gone really good guests, and he's into true crime and conspiracy theories. So I was like,
That's what we're all about. Yeah.
me. Speaking of TikTok, one of my biggest regrets is following Brittany from season 22. What was the last season? 23?
I believe so.
23? Was following her on TikTok.
Which one, Brittany?
Brittany, the one who was autistic. Brittany.
Oh, was that the girl from Portland?
That's Whitney.
Oh, she was from Niagara Falls. She
Yeah.
was a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Why was that a big
Because all
mistake?
she does is dance. All she does is do the dances.
Okay, that would
Everyone,
get on my fucking
like,
nerves.
I thought if I followed her, she'd be like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is what it was like in the house."
Do you
and
follow anyone else? Because that's a weird pick. Is that the only person you follow on there?
That's the only one that's on TikTok that I
Really? You think they're all like so self-absorbed? They'd be putting out videos all the
Yeah, I
time.
don't know. I want to pay. I really want to pay for Whitney's OnlyFans.
She has one.
Yeah, yeah, she does. Yes, dude. There are people in this town that you pass in the grocery store that have OnlyFans that you would be surprised.
Well, if you can find out, just let me get a
Lauren-
link so I can confirm.
Lauren knows all the
I would just be curious, you know,
spicy
like,
links. She knows all. She hears all that at work.
bro, if there's like a name drop that we know, I got to know about it.
She was like, because Lauren's cool with a lot of people up at work, a lot of her customers, and she tied with them. And the other night, her and one of her customers were talking, like, see that girl over there? She's got an OnlyFans account. Her husband films it, and she's got like 16,000 followers.
I thought they were going to cancel that though. Like, no more of basically nudity on there.
I don't know.
OnlyFans would kind of tank their business model if they did that. Because who the fuck else would be using OnlyFans? And then somebody else would just fill that vacuum. Like, someone else is just going to come up and just pick right up where you drop that.
Yep.
So they better not, unless they just want to go bankrupt.
So yeah. So Inventing Anna and E for Explicit.
And if
podcast.
anyone's got that link to that OnlyFans for Matt,
Yeah, Whitney. I don't know her last name, but she was on Big Brother 23.
Whitney from Portland,
Whitney from Portland.
she has
Yeah.
curly hair.
I want to see her butthole.
Oh wow, he's going straight for that booty hole.
Yep. I want to see her butthole.
Okay. All right, is that my cue to go?
That's a good transition. Go.
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about what I'm listening to. I listened to American Greed, which is just like another version of Swindled. I think it's brought by like MSNBC or something like that. But they have individual episodes, so always good to just pick up and listen to one for like 30 or 40 minutes. The same applies to this one called Disappearances. It's different episodes about, just people over time, usually in America, that just disappeared, never heard from again. I listened to the episode about Michael Rockefeller, which was really good.
Yeah,
You know about that story?
was crazy.
Yeah, so he was the grandson of the Rockefeller, Like they said
John Rockefeller.
Yeah, they said how his wealth would be more than like Musk, Bezos, and Bill Gates combined because he founded Standard Oil right when the oil boom and that age of
Now,
cars.
this was the one where he was living like on an island with like a
Yeah, he wanted to collect all the
tribe.
art from like a New Guinea, so like he wanted to get indigenous art to show, and he ended up he would trade with them, and he had this little boat that got kind of stranded. And he's like, "Well, I'm going to swim ashore, never seen again." They thought like maybe he drowned, maybe he got eaten. No, they fucking killed him and ate him, bro.
Look
They
at
fucking
this piece of fucking white meat.
yeah, like they did. They said they immediately just killed him, drained his blood, and fucking cannibalized him. And then they're like, they were making like daggers out of like his thigh bone and shit.
yeah.
So that's just crazy to me because it's a Rockefeller, bro. That's like one of the that's like the oligarch of America. You know what I mean? Like monopoly money. And his fucking grandson was eaten by some guy in New Guinea by like a tribe of people that don't even know like a single word of English.
No.
And he was probably like, wait, like I'm worth like money you can't even understand.
Do you know who my dad is?
Yeah, do you know who my dad is, who my grandfather is? And they just go, yeah, fucking cut them. We got that skewer they put them on and just
They've got him
rotating
on a spit.
them. So that was a really good one to me. I just said it's just wild eaten by natives. I got this one's called Sacred Scandal. I'm going to read it because I don't give good descriptions, so I'm going to read some of these. It's 2 decades ago, on a calm, dark Miami night, a nun was stabbed nearly 100 times on the grounds of a prestigious private academy in Montessori by Mykola Kaliov, who was Ukrainian. He was at that school, like
Shout out
studying.
Ukraine.
Shout out Ukraine. Stay strong. As investigators start asking questions around this Byzantine Catholic school and the gruesome murder, they find more than just her killer. In the search for answers that stretches into some of the most remote villages of Eastern Europe, they uncover allegations of sexual abuse, secret letters to the Vatican, and other mysteries of faith. So I haven't got through it all yet, but that's something I was like halfway. I was like 10 episodes. It's 10 episodes long, and I was like through 6 yesterday. So I was just going to mention it because it was a good one. Those are all on Spotify. Sorry. This is a book that I listened to on Audible. It's called Jesus and John Wayne. It's a sweeping account of the last 75 years of white evangelicalism, showing how American evangelicals have worked for decades to replace the Jesus of the Gospels with an idol of rugged masculinity and Christian nationalism. Evangelical popular culture is teeming with muscular heroes, mythical warriors, and rugged soldiers. Men like Oliver North, Ronald Reagan, and Mel Gibson, and the Duck Dynasty clan, who assert white masculine power in defense of Christian America. Chief among these evangelical leaders is John Wayne, an icon of a lost time where men were uncowered by political correctness, unafraid to tell it like it is, and did what was needed to be done. A much-needed re-examination. Jesus of John Wayne explains why evangelicals have rallied behind the least Christian president in American history and how they have transformed their faith in the process while enduring consequences for all of us. So, just talking about how they kind of reimagined Jesus to be like this muscular badass that, you know, take no shit and slap an ass, and then how they just use that influence to kind of infiltrate politics, and now we're making all these laws about what you can do to your body or what you can do in place based on other people's religion, which I don't care if you're religious or not, but I don't like it when that influences my laws and policies because you don't think it should be right. And last but not least, I've been listening to a lot of Kanye. A lot of Kanye West. And watching, I got 3 things that were on HBO. The White Lotus, which is a really good show. It was about this Hawaiian resort and the characters that go there, and you find out really early on that someone died there, and then you don't find out who and why until like later on. But it's like a really good dark comedy. It's hard to explain, but if anyone has HBO, I would highly recommend The White Lotus. We watched this show called Big Little Lies and again on HBO, about like these rich bitches that basically kill a guy and have to keep a lie, but it's a really good cast. That was another terrible description. The Righteous Gemstones, which Brady has been telling us to watch for the longest time. Yeah, Brady and my sister, shout out Alicia, have been telling me to watch this for the longest time, and I just put it off until we finally watched it, and it's like one of the best shows on TV right now. I think last week was the season 2 finale, and it's like I immediately looked on, and it's like, yes, they already greenlit like season 3, and you know we're all stoked about it. It's a really good show. It's really fucking funny, but it just has like every episode is just like so enjoyable from beginning to end. It's got really good characters. My favorite's probably BJ. If anyone knows Righteous Gemstones, they know the BJ's the man. So would recommend all of those. HBO Max is by far my favorite streaming service. I watch so much HBO. Got one more thing here. This is on Netflix. Genius, the Kanye trilogy. I told you, dude, there's been a lot of Kanye this week.
It really has been.
But it was really good. So it was a 3-part, and the first 2 were his struggles just to get known outside of his producing and try to get a record deal. And when he finally did, they wouldn't even give him the money to record. You know, he had to borrow studio time. He had to finance his own shit. Mm-hmm. He had to make his own videos because he believed in himself. I mean, rightfully so, because 20 years later, he's making and it was cool because he had a buddy that was already filming him that knew early on from like 1988. You get this clip of him as a producer, and he was like, I knew then Kanye was going to be big. So he just started filming them like all the time, like following Kanye around. So they got this footage, and I mean, it's just great footage that spans from like 98 to like 2006 or 7 when he got a little too cocky, a little too arrogant, a little too big. And then they took a break, but then they came back. So there's just like good footage all throughout like 20 years. Last but not least, this is with Ellie. We watched Fireheart last week, which was a good movie. That's what she was trying to explain to you. It was about a woman in New York. It was animated, of course, who wanted to be a firefighter, but you couldn't as a woman back then. So she had to like go in disguise and ended up saving the city and becoming like the first firefighter in New York.
Like Ladybugs, but firefighter version.
Yeah, I guess if you want to break it down at a toddler level, something like that.
Cool. I'm down.
But it just talks about how there were no female firefighters until like 1982, and how they broke this barrier down, and it's just good for like Elizabeth to watch stuff like that. I tell her, you can be whatever you want. Yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some stuff that you probably can't be. It'd be a little too difficult, but I'm not gonna tell her she can't be a firefighter. We watched Scooby Doo, Shaggy Showdown. That was a good Western one. Nice little twist. And then last week, I tried to take her to see the new Spider-Man, the No Way Home. Yeah. That didn't work out. We were walking out about 30 minutes in. And I blame that movie trailer. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Jordan, what's his name? Jared Leto's in it. It's called like Morbius or something like that. where he's like a fucking vampire bat.
Yeah.
That shit looked kind of scary, and that was the trailer we saw like right before the movie started. And yeah, she was not feeling it after that. She was done. She wanted to sit in my lap, and then the movie started. So it was a good movie. We watched like the first 30 minutes, and if anyone else sees it, you know it's like a split in like the universe or something. So all these past villains come back. So it was just nothing but bad guys, and she was done. She was like wanting to go home. So, but it was good because we played the game. I probably spent $50 at that theater.
Yep.
Between games and concessions and tickets. $50, and we walked out with like a elastic pair of handcuffs that she won with all her tickets. So I got to just go to jail when I got home.
Yeah.
So I'll watch it when it comes out. I'll finally get to watch that movie because I've heard it was really good, and I want to see the new Batman. I know that was random that, you know, we've had a few buddies see it and everybody said it's pretty good, so I want to check that out.
Pattinson's getting good reviews.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He did.
I think he gets a lot of shit for Twilight.
Yeah, I was going to say, he made that movie with those brothers. Now I can't think of their names, but the guys that made like Righteous, no, that's not it. Uncut Gems.
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
I can't think of that movie though, man, but he was like him and his brother. I don't know. Fuck it. I'm not even going to talk about it. He is a good actor, though. That's what I should say. That's all I'm going to leave it at. He's a good actor.
Yep. All right.
I could fumble my way to the end of that one.
Well, we made it. I think we figured out how to get back up on this bike. But, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We're going to try to, again, do this on a more regular basis.
Don't you fucking say it.
But yeah, guys, everybody, thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for listening. If you got anything for us during the week, write us on Instagram, or hell, I could say this. Y'all have our numbers. Just text us, and we'll get back with you. But for Matt,
And I'm Andrew.
we're out.